learning the art of playing NAMOR, one of the most versatile duelists we have in Marvel Rivals. Now, what NAMOR kind of specializes in is you have the NAMOR players who play very defensive, so you have the ability of sort of being an anti-dive character, which is really nice against things like Black Panther, Magic, and Spider-Man. Then you have the NAMOR players who can essentially play more aggressive, using your turrets to sort of create these control zones, which we'll talk about in the video, where you're able to sort of dissect your opponents and kind of split them potentially off by using your turrets a little more aggressively. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you two different gameplays from me. I'm currently in GM still, and I think these will be pretty helpful for those who are attempting to learn NAMOR or want to just see some different tips on how to play NAMOR. Of course, I am not the best NAMOR player in the game, but I do find myself to be very knowledgeable of this particular hero and kind of the different ins and outs of how to play this character. If you guys like the content, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below of what you guys want to see, maybe hero-wise on a concept. I know I am working on some gameplay of Human Torch, who I really find to be probably one of my favorite characters currently in the game, next to NAMOR, sort of in that duelist role. Now, we'll get started here with the first video here, which is going to be just currently in pick and ban phase here, but this is going to be a high, this is like mid GM. Beginning, I was attempting to go Human Torch. Fortunately, they wanted to ban my Human Torch. Now, at the beginning of this game, I do start off playing Storm, so this doesn't go super well, just to kind of, and you'll kind of see why here. So you can kind of see our team comps here, so we'll stop a little bit first. So we have a Cloak and Luna. And this is kind of why I decided to go NAMOR, first of all, because of the Luna support. Luna is incredibly good. But then we have a Psylocke and a Hela, which is fine. The Psylocke into this team comp that they are playing is okay. They do have a Loki and a Cloak, which I think have really good tailored defense. I didn't think we had a great team comp to deal with this. They also have Moon Knight and Scarlet Witch and NAMOR. So NAMOR is sort of a quick counter to Storm. So you can see here I'm just kind of trying to lay down damage, and this does not last long. So like we're already kind of peaking off early. Hela getting a few final hits here. Groot's really annoying. On this map particularly, Groot's really good just as a solo tank. See the Scarlet Witch is up here, trying to back up from Scarlet Witch, but because of that I'm not able to give the buff to my team as much, so I'm trying to stay low to the ground. And this whole beginning of this round, it just felt we just felt like we were just kind of losing fights all the time. So I end up thinking I picked up the health pack. We don't end up getting the health pack, so we end up dying. So we end up swapping to NAMOR. We end up losing the first point before I can even get back. So here, one thing that's really important, I think, with your turrets is that some people just, maybe they just, you know, it's kind of a hard concept sometimes to grasp. These things have like a 30 meter radius of what they can hit, which is really, really good. So depending on kind of where you are on the map, you want to be utilizing these turrets differently. So here, obviously, like I kind of have already built-in coverage here with the double Groot wall, right? So like they can only really hit me from like this angle. They're going to be spawning here. So what I did was I threw my turrets on this side. So you can see here my turret can see under here. My turret can see up this way. And I'm trying to throw the turrets out there to potentially just get a little bit of chip damage, because I don't want to veer too far from my team to have to deal with Scarlet Witch or having to try to duel the Moon Knight like combo with the Ankh. I can end up getting damaged a lot if I'm standing next to my turrets. So really right now there's not a lot that we're really able to do. Our team's just sort of staggering in. Magneto gets cut off there, which is going to end up with him dying. So we're not really doing the greatest here, and this is kind of where now we're starting to get pushed now. Just trying to backpedal throughout the ice turret, which is again why I decided to go NAMOR, since I do have the team up with Luna. I threw that behind them, and they it doesn't survive too long. Now I'm just trying again. We're just trying to stop the bleeding at this point. Trying to get to a point where we can just sort of hold for a little bit longer for the rest of the team to come back. And this is another thing too, is trying to just know like when to like angle. So you can see here, we know that there is a NAMOR up here. So I throw one of my turrets up top here. Although it dies, it does push him back a little bit, so that way he's not raining down spears on my tank here. All right, and then he goes underneath, so then we actually end up taking away the high ground from him just because he didn't want to potentially have to deal with the turret damage. Heli gets picked, and here I attempt to use the ult. We actually don't end up getting anybody with this ult, and this is one of the weird things with NAMOR, is that you want to have as much high ground as possible when you're trying to push this damage off of the turret. I mean, off of your ultimate. You want to be able to get high enough to where you can angle it. You really need to get people in the middle of it for it to really deal damage. But the knockdown is really good if you can land it. I just, particularly there, they had just the NAMOR and everyone else kind of stepped off the point, so we weren't able to do much there. Going forward now, the entire team is in this choke point here, right? We just killed Loki, right? So we have this entire team in the choke point. Our team is holding this back line here, and I have high ground. So again, the idea here, so you have a turret here on this cart. You can kind of utilize this high ground here. You also can utilize this here. Sometimes the best idea with the turrets sometimes is to throw them in the opposite direction of where your opponents would be shooting. Sometimes it's good to put them in the same area, so they might have to deal with them at the same time, which they might not be able to choose between the two. But like if I throw a turret here and a turret up here, or a turret up on this angle here, so now they have to, now when they're down here, you have to angle this way and deal with people who are attacking you over on this side. So currently we're 1-1, right? Not a lot of kill potential. We're actually not doing very well as a team. Like there's just not a lot going on. They're definitely, like, we're doing decent damage, but we're not actually able to finalize any kills, which is the problem. The Scarlet Witch is sort of taking us out a little bit. So here, again, just utilizing these corners, trying to poke as much as possible. We have the Hela ult going up in the air. I saw Groot was walking in, so there's a good chance that Groot was going to try to ult us, so I ended up using the bubble to get away. And we throw a... I threw it a little too low. I was trying to land it on this side of the wall, or of this rooftop instead of this side, because now it can really only hit like the wall and the NAMOR. So that was, again, a little bit of my fault there, just bad aiming. We get a Moon Knight ult. And again, just kind of doing the same thing, just trying to hold this choke point as much as we possibly can. And we start to sort of stagger them a little bit. We get a few picks there. Push them back. We don't have ultimate advantage here. We just have Psylocke. And then we're just going to kind of poke them a little bit. So one nice thing with NAMOR is that you have very good range. And if you angle the arrows, or your spears have a little bit of an arc to them. So if you angle them a little bit higher, and you'll see me do this a lot, where I jump and throw my both of my spears like that, because you get a little more oomph on your angle, so you can kind of hit headshots a little bit better. And you can see here we threw, that was a bad turret. That was a bad turret there, but I throw a turret up on this side here because I know the Scarlet Witch is continuously trying to poke us from above, right? So what I do is every time I see the Scarlet Witch, I just throw another turret up, and I just kind of sit there, even though she can kill it. The idea is to just try to keep her, just to zone her off of this high ground here. Because if she can sit here and consistently drain us, it just means we're just losing damage for no reason. Like we're just losing HP. So again, we've already gotten a few picks from hitting him in this angle. Throw another turret up. And now the Groot finally comes in and walls us off. And now we're going to switch our attention to just hitting the other side of the rock. Again, we're just zoning. The more you can kind of jump with NAMOR dealing damage, the better you're going to have when it comes to multiplying those headshot damages. Because again, you're just going to be able to just kind of jump up slightly when you throw. It's going to land as you're going down. It's going to land sort of on their head area. And obviously, you get to be able to aim. So here, I ult in. The goal here was to try to single out the cloak and dagger. So you can see here, I was kind of running my ultimate a little bit. I was thinking about ulting like here, and then I realized that I don't have a good enough angle, and they're gonna have to run backwards to their team. So I kind of threw it down here. Moon Knight didn't run backwards, which I thought he was potentially going to, but we did hit the cloak. We stunned cloak, one-shot cloak. She's dead, and then we're gonna be able to kill the Groot here, or else I think we can kill the Groot. I don't actually know if we killed the Groot here. Ran to the wall. I didn't want to get zoned off by my team. Nope, Groot ended up living. We get another Moon Knight ult, and now up here, now we're gonna take the high ground above the Moon Knight and the Groot. Because now they're kind of focused on this side. He just ulted, so their presence is going to be really looking to this right side of the map. And then I already have some turrets down, so I can kind of poke from above. And just missing some shots there, which is obviously that's not good. You don't want to miss some of this stuff. I back up a little bit because running out of turrets, and also my team is moving backwards as well. And we get picked. Just kind of how that sequence was going. So we lose the second point. And now this is I'd say this is actually a really good area for NAMOR, because you have a different ways you can set up here, right? So you can set up here on this high ground. This is kind of the typical area you could set up. Personally, I would rather set up over there or back here, because this is just such in the line of sight. But I wanted to try and stall them as much at this point as I possibly can, just trying to pick off some damage. I was close to my ult, and I know by the next team fight I could have my ult up if I was able to just poke out some damage here. So they start pushing in, try to cut them off here in the front. I have my portal, so I'm able to get away from the Groot wall. And again, they're just pushing through us right now, right? Like we don't really have good defense. You could see damage sparingly here. Our Psylocke is just not getting it done. And really he needed the switch. If he would have switched to a tank on this side, we probably would have been able to hold him. But again, we did the same thing with the Scarlet Witch, right? So we saw Scarlet Witch up top. We saw Scarlet Witch jump up top here. And now we know that she's going to be up there. So when she starts to try to drain, we throw a turret. Then she gets pushed off the top, right? Because now she doesn't want to take that instant damage. We throw another turret on this wall. So now this turret can see this entire side. It's going to pick off the closest person to him, which is going to be the cloak. Using the spear. Just, again, trying to poke out damage. We use the ult. We end up getting a really decent ult, but the Groot wall. So like we could have killed Moon Knight. But the Groot wall basically stopped all of that, so we weren't able to do anything. A little unfortunate, but this is solo queue, so I'm not actually communicating with any of these guys. And then we get caught in a little bit of a duel with the Scarlet Witch. Thankfully, we were able to kind of run her off. We end up getting the pick with our Frost turret. Got a pick. Bad Moon Knight ult. Not Moon Knight, Magneto. Some support ults are being popped here, and then we're just kind of popping up in the air here, just using the advantage here. Ideally, this is I'm just kind of doing it, but if you think about it a little bit, Moon Knight has kind of hard time tracking because all of his attacks are projectiles, and they kind of go, in a line, so they're not just indirect, like something like a hit scan like Hela or Punisher. So a little bit harder for him to hit me if I'm moving, and then his Onk, I have a little bit better chance of getting out of the Onk attack. Throw down more turrets here on the top. We're just trying to hold this top as much as possible. Pick off the Groot, pick off the Moon Knight, and we kind of win this team fight here and hold him a little bit, which is nice. That was a terrible turret there, but the idea was to put the turret against this back wall, and I just kind of missed. But you see, as even though we're on the losing side right now, we're getting pushed in. We're doing as much as we possibly can when it comes to zoning, and that's one of the big things with NAMOR. Is what makes him so good, is he has the way of sort of zoning by holding these turrets. You see there, we have a flanking NAMOR there. I think we end up killing this NAMOR. We have a Moon Knight behind me. Trying again not to get picked by the Moon Knight. And we're doing a decent job of holding him here. Get a good ult. We actually end up just popping the Loki. I end up getting a pick on the Groot as well with my turret. And Scarlet Witch is going to end up dying here. So we end up holding him here. At this end here, I just kind of throw my turrets down just to pick them off from damage. They shouldn't be able to get in and touch. And then we end up winning, not winning, but stopping them on that side. Now on offense, we did get the Psylocke to switch, so we ended up switching the Thing, which is okay. Not a huge fan of the Thing on this particular map, but it's fine. But as you can see here, most of our team stayed the same. We did have the Hela swap to Punisher, which we were communicating in the chat. Because of the Groot walls, we needed someone else who could actually take out the walls without having us, just kind of hitting our head against them. So Punisher's really, really good for that. It would have been nice if we could have got a rocket here, but that's okay. So here, trying to the Punisher's sort of holding down this front area here. So we both don't need to be throwing all of our damage at the front here, because me and him are going to be the primary damage dealers on this team. So instead, I saw that Hela was up top, so I was going to rotate to get the Hela. Obviously, there's a Scarlet Witch up here, which I didn't realize. So I'm just going to throw down some turrets, poke out the Scarlet Witch, and now we're able to take high ground if we decide to. So we're going to walk through the middle here, throw out some damage, throw out a turret or two. And I think after a second here, unless we get a pick, I don't remember what I end up doing here. This I probably could have. This was sort of bad on my part. What I should have did was I should have taken this area here, or rotated all the way back here, and took this little section on the map here. I could have did either one of those. So here I do go up top, and this is when I think it starts working. I think we end up getting through here. We end up getting the Groot. Just kind of waiting for my healer to heal me. And now we kind of push through the middle, this alleyway. We end up throwing a turret up here because we know this is an area where Moon Knight's, the Scarlet Witch, might sit. So now you have to deal with this frozen turret, which again, just the idea primarily here is just to deal with the zoning characters that they're trying to flank us with, right? They have a Moon Knight combination is really strong. You have a Scarlet Witch who can drain a lot of my backline. I see the Punisher's taking some damage here, so I'm trying to help the Punisher as much as I can. Moon Knight ult, not too bad. And now the Moon Knight goes up top there, which is what I was kind of worried about. We end up losing our position. Here I end up getting picked. I could have backed up. I was really planning on getting a pick there. That's just what you do. I mean, you're gonna make mistakes. I was just trying to challenge them as much as I could. And the back here, team fight. This is more ideal. I took the back entrance here. I could not hit this cloak for some reason. I just was struggling with hitting her, which does happen with like the smaller hit scan, like the smaller hitbox characters. We get Groot, which I don't know why I missed Groot there a few times. This Hela's gonna ult, and just kind of poke some damage at the Hela. Got her out of her ultimate. Stay in the Luna ult because of the Moon Knight damage, and then we gotta go up top here and pop the Moon Knight. We have to deal with the Luna ult. We have Scarlet in the corner, and then we should end up taking this point finally. I want to try to zone them off of this section as much as possible, so that way we can get through this corridor with the combination of Moon Knight, potentially Hela, or if they switch to another DPS. I know they obviously saw the Moon Knight because I could see him. I want to try to keep them away from being able to onk and ult this area. So we end up getting a pick there. I end up dying to the Moon Knight. Again, trying to do more than I should be doing. But that's just, how it happens sometimes. You end up trying to kind of overextend yourself to help your team, as you can see here. Team comp wise, were putting out a decent amount of damage other than the thing originally, but he ended up switching, so that's, you know, he's at least doing some tanking there. We're actually out damaging their team, but we're still lacking on the final hits category for our other DPS. Hopefully he ends up kind of stepping up a little bit. Here I'm just missing, just kind of throwing out shots. I'm just missing. We push up as far as we possibly can here. Obviously the convoy's back here, but this choke point here we really need to take control over. So I know that I have my bubble, I have my shield, I have my ult here, which we end up throwing down. We end up getting the Groot, which is super, because now they don't have a way of stopping us from pushing. And now I just need to take out the Loki healing, throw down some more turrets, and we basically just took the entire choke point without actually having to do a real fight. We ulted, we killed Groot, and now we're just able to sort of take this entire area. Forces Cloak to ult, which we're not super worried about the Cloak ult anymore. It's not nearly as good. We end up getting the Moon Knight, but he ends up getting our Luna, which is going to stop our push a little bit. That's, you know, she's a big part of our healing. And then here, we're just trying to zone off. This area, you could play a little more this way, but I wanted to play next to the health pack, and because my Luna's going to be coming from spawn, in case she can actually heal me. I can't really 1v1 the Scarlet Witch successfully a lot of the time because of her ability to just teleport and her ult and primary fire combo. She actually can out-damage me if I don't hit my primary spear. Groot again walks in. We end up getting the Groot, and mainly because of the Punisher damage, and we all just kind of just jumped on the Groot for something. I don't know why he jumped in like that. So here we're sort of spread off from the team with the Scarlet Witch. And again, right now we're just kind of fighting for position for the first person to get a pick. Our thing ends up dying, which is terrible again. Again, just trying to zone here. I think that is their Hela. I end up dying. I think that's my last death of the game. I don't actually remember here. We got pushed all the way back to our spawn, which is the correct thing for them to do. They pushed us all the way back off of the point. So now we're really trying to just kind of fight in here. Ideally, you want to... They're kind of playing inside the building. So you don't want to go inside the building. You're kind of more of a mid-range, long-range character. So I'm trying to keep myself back as much as I possibly can, just chucking out spears. You can throw your turrets inside, which will at least help kind of alleviate some pressure. And now we see them kind of rotating back, so they're not really focused me. We're gonna ult in. We end up picking the Moon Knight, and we get the Groot with our spear. So we essentially win the team fight for our teammates there. Trying not to get picked by the Scarlet Witch, who ends up dying, and then I end up getting picked by the Hela. But my one death for 3 of their teammates is fine. We end up getting the point, and we rotate back. So now they're kind of on the back foot, sort of staggering a little bit more. We end up getting the Moon Knight. We end up picking the Cloak here, I believe. No, Cloak runs away. And I'm again just kind of playing a little more aggressive here, just trying to push up. So we took the 1 point. I want to keep them staggered as much as possible. And we get the Cloak there. So now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to set up, that's why I set up a turret on this top section here. I want to set up this area so we can get the point, the convoy in here. This is going to help stop Scarlet Witch potentially from flanking behind us if she was trying to flank us. So we end up getting the pick on Cloak here. And again, we're trying to just get the point as close as possible. We have a minute left. We basically have to capture basically just have to win the entire map on this rotation here. We maybe have like 1 or 2 team fights left. So again, I'm trying to use the turrets to, trying to help me just build up some little bit of meter there. I'm getting a pick on Hela, which is nice. Again, we're just pushing up now. Get some ultimates that ring off. But here we end up getting countered a little bit. Not by the Groot. Loki damage was really good, and I get picked off by the Scarlet Witch here, which is kind of what is supposed to happen in this side. But you can see here, team-wise, we're just sort of losing this particular team fight here, which is obviously it's not great. So we got about 30 seconds left. We end up losing thing. Now, 30 seconds left. Now this is a really, I feel like I have a little bit of part of this. You guys can let me know down in the comments below. But we have about 30 seconds left here. Just kind of waiting for my team, not trying to stagger in so much. I can see the team up being used there by Moon Knight, so I chuck 2 turrets up here, 3 turrets up here, just to kind of push him off of the high grounds. Throw my ultimate down, and sort of make him, you know, ultimate was not very impactful, which I was kind of hoping to get at least a pick off of that. I didn't end up getting anybody, so that part kind of sucked. But now we have sort of high ground against Scarlet Witch, trying to push her off. Now we're just going to be trading ultimates here. End up getting the pick in the back on Scarlet Witch, which is nice. And now we're basically just fighting for overtime points here, and this is essentially like one of the last fights of the match here on the side. Here I end up making the mistake of trying to damage through the wall instead of jumping up top, which was just a mistake that, you know, again, you kind of look at it hindsight now, but we'll continue to watch this fight. And because of the Punisher here, we end up actually winning this team fight really hard. He just kind of comes in and just cleans up essentially half their team. And the 3 of them, because the thing is still alive here, they just kind of clean up everybody. That's me running in with the Iron Man. I picked Iron Man because of just the fast mobility. I don't play Spider-Man, so that would have been the other choice here. But we run in to end up getting the pick and the win at the end here, finishing with 35-8 with 20k damage, primarily just playing NAMOR. Alright, so this is the second game that we're going to review. I, again, started with Storm because we didn't get her banned. You can see our team comp here. We have 2 flyers in myself and Iron Man, paired with a Thing and a Venom. Very odd combination. And then we have a Luna and a Invisible Woman. Now, a lot of these games, and you'll see they play, and the best games to play with NAMOR are the games where you have a Luna. So if you have a designated duo or somebody who's playing Luna, or just a random person who's playing Luna, NAMOR is definitely one of the best picks you can do. As you can see here on their team, they have Thor and Groot combination with a Magic and Star-Lord, and then rounding that up with the supports of being an Adam Warlock and Invisible, which actually is a really good combination. I think for a high competitive, that's like a really, really good combination here. So we start off with Storm because of, well, it wasn't banned, right? So I wanted to start off with the Storm, and this is very similar to the game we just talked about, where I kind of start off with the Storm, like, okay, I don't feel super impactful with the Storm in this matchup, but we picked her just to kind of see what they were picking. So Star-Lord, not a great combination for me to be playing. The Storm here, end up losing the Luna, and I realized that I got attacked by the Star-Lord there, and I just kind of instantly swapped to the NAMOR here. So one thing, and apparently this happens in every elo, but we kind of get stagnant in trying to push through this main door. We don't have a primary tank like a Groot or a Doctor Strange or someone who can shield us here. So we kind of just sit here and just a little stagnant. I hear the Star-Lord on the top left, so I realize, you know what, we're going to go zone off the Star-Lord here. And he attempting to just kind of duel me here. But with the turrets, I end up winning any of these duels. So we push out, we hit a turret there, and now we're just going to kind of rain down some spears. Magic jumps up to me, and I instantly bubble. I see that we have our Invisible Woman ult down, so I'm just going to peek into that corner there. And we end up actually getting a pick here on not one, but both of their damage dealers. So I don't know why both of their damage dealers were up top here. This allows the rest of my team to push in and attempt to start taking the point. Now, Adam ults here, which is not great because they're just losing the team fight, so everyone's going to spawn here. So he spawns 4, and then we kill literally everybody who just spawned. We end up getting the pick there on the Star-Lord, and then we end up picking off the Magic. Now here, the correct thing here is to now hold them on this side of the map. But my team decides, as you can see, everyone kind of goes and just sits on the point instead of following me this way. So I end up getting picked primarily because I just was sort of off. I assumed everyone was going to be playing up with me. Nobody did. Everyone was so busy worrying about the Adam Warlock, so I ended up getting picked here. Which we end up sort of losing point control now because my damage is not there. And we're really relying on this Iron Man who is, as you can see here, has 1k damage. So that's not ideal. Yeah, 1k damage as a DPS this far into the game already is just not very good. So I'm kind of playing myself here. And we start losing this team fight. Trying to deal as much damage as I can here. You know, just trying to find like a sliver of opportunity. I see the magic is definitely a component here. The Thor easy pick off here, but they just push 4, and I don't have the ability of really fighting back from that. Now, here we're in sort of the same sort of predicament. Again, the Magic and Star-Lord are sort of playing our flank, which is, again, kind of an odd place to play. But it's the rest of our team is not really prioritizing damage. We end up getting a pick on the Magic. And a pick on the Groot here, so we end up getting the point back. Now we're just going to poke out the Thor. I end up ulting on top of myself because I know either the Thor is going to try to fight us or the Star-Lord's going to try to use his AoE attack. So I just throw the ultimate on top of myself, zone off the Thor damage, throw some really bad spears, and just the Thor just runs away there. So we end up getting the point. And this time I decide not to push up because I realize my team is just not really focused on securing that little walkway. They're more focused on trying to pick off the Adam Warlock here. So I realize I'm just not going to push up, which is bad. I would rather push up. My tank is playing up here for some reason, so not the greatest of spots for him to be playing. And this area is kind of strange. So we have our Luna's chasing our Adam Warlock instead of sitting back trying to heal us. And this is going to end up costing me positioning, right? So now she jumps in finally. I'm already out of position, taking the high ground here. And, yeah, it was a little bad scenario for us there. I'm trying to utilize this pillar in front of me. Just kind of keep some of the focus off of them trying to attack me. Just poking out damage. I end up getting flanked by the Adam Warlock, and then Groot comes up and just pops me, which is awful. So you see they're basically just getting some ults off here. Their Star-Lord ends up cleaning house, and they end up getting the point back. And our Venom not on point. Iron Man 5 and 4, 3k damage. Not great for a character that has a lot of AoE damage. This point is much better for NAMOR, and actually for our team comp in general. It's we have some tight corridors, but we have a lot more opening area, and that's really good for Venom. It's really good for Iron Man as well. They, to my knowledge at this point, I'm like, okay, they're probably going to play the same team comp. They decide to take the middle corridor route, which is good, but their Thor kind of jumps in by himself here, and I end up getting a really good pick headshot there on the Star-Lord and makes Star-Lord have to run away. So now this this Thor here is kind of put into a position where we're just going to end up killing him because he's by himself. And Groot kind of walls himself off here from the Warlock damage, so we're just going to sort of poke on him a little bit. We put a turret on top here, just a little bit above us. Again, just poking some damage down at the Groot. And we end up taking the point because they ended up losing the mid-corridor advantage. And now we're just going to kind of poke them a little bit here. Again, just sort of zoning them off as much as possible. So now, this side, they end up switching to Storm. And the one thing with Storm is she's great unless you're playing against a NAMOR. Especially if a NAMOR can actually hit spears, which I end up hitting a few spears here on the Storm. Because two of those two spears basically take Storm out of the fight. She doesn't really have the ability of staying up in the air and idling if you end up hitting a spear or two. So we're trying to hold off this. I actually could have thrown this a little bit farther up, because here it actually can't see the magic. I wanted to throw it right here. I think I was expecting the magic to actually dive me, but she ended up getting stunned anyway. So a little bit of a waste. Get the ult down from the Invisible Woman, and just not really much damage coming out from their side. We zone off the magic. Magic ends up wasting her ult. Adam gets a really big res, so now I know that my ultimates, I have to use my ultimates somewhat impactful here. Just kind of holding a little bit, zoning off again, using the turret on the inside here. Because as you can see here, it takes them quite a long time, and this turret actually lives for quite a bit because they're not able to kill the. They just don't focus it for some reason. We end up popping the Storm out of the sky here, and then we end up hitting the Invisible Woman, and she's a character here, so you'll see I end up just popping the Invisible Woman. You can actually hear her really, really well after she jumps, because as soon as she lands, if she's anywhere around you and you don't have a ton of sound going on, so I kind of heard her here running, and I'm like, okay, she's gonna be in this area. I guess correctly, because she also tried to push me, so we end up getting a pick there. So down with the healer. Groot's just in the center here. We pick off the Groot, and we just sort of clean house there. See here, sort of rolling with 23 and 4 on this side, 11k damage. We see the Star-Lord, who's coming from our spawn, so he obviously a little bit of out of position there. And now we have about one more team fight to win before we actually get this side. We're going to keep the Storm in this area. Storm can't push up again because she doesn't have the mobility. So as soon as we hit her with a spear, she has to sort of back up. And we're going to throw this turret here, which will watch this health pack. So it watches this corridor and this corridor, just in case if somebody was going to leak out and try to flank us. Groot wall comes down, so now they're going to end up trying to push up. But I already have a turret down here, and this is behind them. So they're not focusing this turret at all. So I'm just going to get some poke damage here, get some poke damage on the Storm. We end up actually picking off the Storm, and we almost picking off the Punisher, who can't join the team fight because of that one turret. And we have the Star-Lord ultimate goes down, trying to stay on the lower part of this wall, so Star-Lord wasn't focusing on us anyways. My ultimate there actually did not get anybody, and I was a little confused as to how. We do end up actually losing this team fight now, so I end up going up in the air, just trying to stay relevant and stay alive as much as possible. So now we have to end up winning this side back. So I'm going to zone. I'm going to go up a little bit here. And now they already have a setup here. So they have Storm in the distance here. We have a Punisher in the back line. Now here's where you just kind of have to hit your shots, right? If you don't hit these shots, because Storm has yet to ult. And I knew that because I haven't heard her use her ult yet. So because of this, it's safe to say that Storm probably had ultimate, so I needed to make sure that we killed the Storm here. So if I don't kill Storm here, we probably lose this team fight, because that ultimate's very, very good for zoning, and then we probably end up potentially losing this side. Venom ult comes down, which does a decent amount of damage here. We want to just... I see that the Adam's low. We're going to focus Adam. We're going to now focus the Groot and the Invisible Woman because she's also low in this area. And then we end up getting the point. And now Invisible Woman doesn't have anybody to really focus on healing, so she ends up getting picked here. I see the Storm, but we already had the point, so they weren't going to get back. So now we end up tying the series up. Okay, so now this next side, we have the same exact team comp for this particular point, which I actually like this point. This is like I call this the crystal point. So this is really good. This allows you to This center crystal area can be broken, but at the beginning this does have a high ground, so we actually can utilize this for our turret placing. Oh, I actually zoomed in. I actually went a little bit forward here, so let's go back. So, we're going to pick off this. We end up working on getting that storm out of the way, and they end up switching to Venom and having the Groot as well, and then they also have the NAMOR again. So here we're just kind of trying to pick off. As you can see, I'm throwing the turrets on the opposite side of myself, so the turrets are able to either help me attack the same person or just kind of do some zoning as well. And I'm always keeping a turret in my back pocket in these type of situations, because I also don't know if someone's going to try to flank me or dive me, because they do have a Venom. So this way we can sort of keep a turret next to me if I need to. And I'm trying to zone. I'm trying to think about using my ult here. I end up not using it if we didn't need it. So we're going to hold that, keep the Venom pushed back here, and we end up taking the point. Now that we have point, so I throw a turret top section here, one down here, and we're going to take this high ground back here. So what I was thinking, mainly because of the first map, my team did not stay pushed up, so they stayed pushed back. So I ended up pushing back. I ended up just realizing that they're all just going to zone in this front area here. So I end up pushing up, throwing two. I throw one turret in front of us here, throwing down the ult at the beginning of the fight here. Just kind of sort of staggers them. It doesn't do as much as I thought it was going to, but it does help us sort of win the beginning of that fight. Then I realize we end up getting a pick here, trying to take out the Groot, deal with the Loki lamp. Realizing that they actually switched to a 3-tank, 3 strategist comp. After I died here, I realized that they're just playing 3 tanks, which is very bad for this map, because they don't actually have like someone who's dealing a lot of damage. Like the Groot's really dealing the damage here, but Magneto and Venom are just sort of average at this point, right? So I know it's really not kind of a matter of time before we just win this. It's going to zone the Adam Warlock here. Trying to deal with not getting picked by the Adam Warlock, and I'm also not getting healed. My healers are both up front here, so I'm just kind of getting taken out here in the back by the Adam Warlock. I end up beating the Adam Warlock here, but I do get picked by the Venom, who ends up diving me. So it is what it is. He should have been helping his teammates, trying to take the point, but it is what it is. So we're pretty close to just winning this round here. And we'll just show the rest of this clip here at the end here. Just because we're kind of at the end of the game, just trying to close it out. Use the ult, knock down the Venom, make him pop his safety mechanism. And then we end up killing out the Venom. And then at this point, they sort of just start staggering in. They end up switching to, I forgot who ends up switching. One of their characters ends up switching to a Strange to utilize the portal, which is a good little trick to do, and I think more people need to start doing that, where they just swap to Strange if we need to turn it. But yep, we end up winning here. I think we end up finishing like 40. I think 40 kills here. Yeah, just 40. 18 final hits is pretty dominating in a GM game. 40-7, 21k damage. A lot of that damage was, I mean, you can see our team comp here. Our second DPS was very, very non-existent for a lot of this game, and our 2 other tanks had to really step up and do a lot of damage, so kudos to them. But yeah, this is a little commentary over some NAMOR games. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I'll try to have some like standalone games where I'm not doing the commentary over when I can. It's a lot of times it's a little difficult because I'm not actually sometimes paying attention or being able to record those games. So thank you guys for watching. If you guys did stick around to the end of the video, that was a little bit of a longer one, but I just wanted to do some talking over some gameplay because I enjoyed that kind of content. So hopefully you guys do too. If you guys want to see some other stuff, Marvel Rivals Wives, let me know in the comments and do what I can. So thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe if you guys do enjoy the content, and I will see you guys in the next video.